What if I told you that by switching to a 1099 independent contractor job, you can make tens of thousands of dollars more per year? Well, in this video, I'm going to walk you through a real life case study to show you how this individual went from making $90,000 a year as a W-2 employee to potentially earning $185,000 per year as a 1099 contractor. Now, with this individual, he was married and his wife worked in healthcare and he was an engineer. But just because you might not work in healthcare and just because you might not be an engineer doesn't mean you can't take advantage of some of these tricks and loopholes that he did. Again, the whole purpose of this video is to give you some ideas on what you can do as a 1099 independent contractor. So with that being said, let's jump into it. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this case study is all about a married couple where the wife worked in healthcare and had great benefits, and her husband was an engineer making about $90,000 per year as a W-2 employee. He's the one that ended up switching to a 1099 position, so we're going to focus on him. Since his wife's job covered health insurance and dental and other benefits, he didn't need any of that from his employer, and his employer was a very large tech company. But here's the problem. His company wouldn't pay him more in salary just because he declined benefits. Why wouldn't they be willing to do that? Well, because larger companies have different HR laws that they have to follow. And by job title, they can only pay you in so much salary, even if you decline the benefits. So he was stuck. However, they did turn around and say, hey, look, if you want to become a 1099 independent contractor, instead of $90,000 a year in salary, we'll pay you $105,000 per year. That's basically a $15,000 raise just by switching to a 1099. So he took the 1099 job and got the higher pay, but this is where things get interesting. Now, while working as a W-2 employee, the engineer was paid a salary, but in most weeks, he could finish all his work in about 25 hours instead of 40. And as an independent contractor, they weren't going to require more work for him. Now, that's a problem as a W-2 worker, because even if you finish work early, you're still locked into the same salary, and most employment contracts would prevent you from working for outside companies. As a 1099 contractor, he owned his own schedule, and he's considered self-employed, so he could take on more projects and part-time work. So he signed up for a company called Upwork, and it's basically a platform for freelance jobs, and he started taking on side contracts. So he ended up working like an extra 20 to 30 hours per week, and he added between $50,000 and $80,000 per year in extra income. But he also had complete control over how much he earned. If he wanted more time off, he could scale back. If he wanted to earn more, he could take on extra projects. So now, instead of making $90,000 per year, his total income was anywhere between $155,000 and $185,000 per year. Not only that, but there was two extra things. He had more time and flexibility on what he did with his schedule, and he was able to keep a higher percentage of the money because of the extra retirement benefits that were available to him. Hey guys, real quick, if you're still watching this video, it's because you're getting value from it. We enjoy making these videos, and when you subscribe to the channel, it helps us grow, which allows us to keep making more and more videos. So if you get a chance, please hit the subscribe button. With that being said, let's jump back into the video. Now, one of the biggest advantages of 1099 income is the ability to contribute way more to tax advantage retirement accounts. So as a W-2 employee, he was limited in his retirement contributions. But as a 1099 contractor, he ended up being able to contribute about $40,000 total to a solo 401k. And he split that up between a traditional 401k and a Roth 401k. And this is huge because in his previous job, between he and his wife's salaries, they earned too much to qualify for a Roth IRA. But by using the solo 401k with the Roth component, he was able to build up tax-free retirement savings that he otherwise wouldn't have had access to. Then on top of those retirement savings, he was able to use business tax deductions to lower his taxes even further. So he was able to do things like write off his home office, write off travel expenses, write off business-related software and equipment. Like he bought all brand new computers and monitors and all that type of stuff. He can write it all off. So at the end of the day, as a W-2 employee, this engineer made $90,000 per year. by switching to a 1099 job. At the same company, he immediately got a $15,000 raise, and by doing freelance contracts in his extra time, was able to make another $50,000 to $80,000 a year, be able to save more in his retirement, have more tax deductions, lowering his tax bill. It was a win-win-win situation for he, his wife, and the company, and the other companies he was working with as well. With that being said, is this a good move for you? There's only two ways to find out. You can sign up for our financial management software and get help from an expert at fitbucks.com. Or if you want to go in and further educate yourself, be sure to watch this video next.